Let's take a look at the February market update for Utah. Now, everybody keeps talking about the housing crash and numbers and all of that. So I'm going to cover all of that today, tell you how the month of February finished, how it looks historically, and what is happening currently on the market and everyday reality of not looking at just the numbers. So stay tuned. Hi, this is Melissa Ballman, and I'm a real estate agent here in the greater Salt Lake City area. So what that means, if you're looking at making a real estate move, I'd love to connect with you. Shoot me a text, send me an email, do what you got to do, but get in touch with me. But today is all about a market update here in Utah. So first things first, I want to share my screen with you. This is familiar if you watch any of my market updates, and just go over the numbers and how they look first. Okay, so this is the report, the sales per month report for the entire state of Utah going back historically. Now, you can see here for February of 2023, we had just over 2,400 units sold in the state. That was reported to utahrealestate.com. And I think something's a little bit off with these numbers as far as the average original list price and list price to sold. But let's take a look at the average sold price. We were sitting at just under $587,000 for the entire state. Now, if you're looking specifically in the Wasatch Front, Salt Lake County, Utah County, Davis County, stay tuned because I am going to share that with you and how it compares to the entire state. Because keep in mind, this is also reporting higher markets like Park City that might be selling multi-million dollar homes. Not that we don't do that in the Wasatch Front, but it does skew the numbers a little bit. Now, like I said, our average sold price was just under $587,000, and we had an average day on market of 44 days. Now, don't pay attention to March because we're only 7 days into March. So, how does this stack up to what we have been seeing? So I want to talk about that for just a second, because really, if you look back here in January of 2022, take a look at that. We were selling 2,700, almost 2,800 units. So not too far off from what we're seeing this February. And we all know how the last couple years have been with the market. Take a look at January of 2021. Again, just under 2,900 units were sold. How about January 2020? 2,800 units sold. So we're only a few hundred units off from what we were seeing like in January the last couple of years. So if you want to get specific and look at February for February, which, sorry, I think January is not much different than February, but we are selling numbers similar to 2019. So take a look at this. February 2019, we were selling 2,800 units. Go back to February of 2018, we were a little higher with over 3,000. But look at this, February 2017, 2,500 units. And this goes on and on and on, where we are very similar to what we had either at the start of the COVID craze or even after the 2008 market crash, and when things were really normal and stable with our housing market. Okay, so as you can see here, and I mean, I can keep scrolling back and back and back, and you can see, February 2016, 2,500 units, 2,600. So we're really right on line with what is normally happening in a healthy, stable real estate market. Now, if you're somebody that wants to look historically, everybody says the market crashed in 2006. That's not really the case. It was really more than like 2008. But take a look at this. February 2006, 2,600 units. Again, right in line with where we are right now. February 2007, almost 2,700 units. And this is where I'm talking about. February 2008, 1,900 units. February 2009, again, still that market crash, 1,425 units. So that's where we were dropping down. But right now, I mean, look at this. We're still 1,000 units a month higher than what we were back during the last housing market bubble or crash, however you want to refer to it. So the other thing I want to point out with the during this crash time that we were looking at, February 2010, 1,500 units, average days on market more than double what we're seeing right now at 133 days. February 2009, 138 days. I mean, take a look at this and see February 2008, which again is when I was saying market crash, 2008, all the way through, like 2012, 2013, beginning of 2013, almost every single month was 100+ days on market. There was only these 2 months here in September and October of 2012 that we dropped below 100 days. So here's what people need to take away. Our inventory is still pretty low. People are still buying houses. This is not indicating our sales number as a crash. Okay, so as promised, I wanted to give you a glimpse of the Wasatch Front for Salt Lake County, Utah County, and Davis County combined. So you can see here in February 2023, we sold just over 1,600 units in those 3 counties as it was reported. So we actually did most of the volume in those 3 counties as we saw in the entire state. And then our average sold price was actually a little bit less than what the entire state average sales price was. So we were just over $549,000 average sales price. And then just to refresh everybody's memory, the average sold price for the state was just under $587,000. So almost $40,000 less than the state average. And then our average days on market was 64 days for those 3 counties. And so not much difference, 2 days difference there. Okay, so I mentioned that inventory is still pretty low, and I want to show you this graph of exactly how low it is. Now, I will add some lines in here, but I just want to try to keep it as clear as possible for looking at it. We are obviously not done with the first quarter of 2023. So this report is only showing the 4th quarter and the 1st quarter, because I want to show you here. We ended 2022 with a total number of homes listed at 8,900, just over 8,900 homes listed in the entire state for that quarter. And you can see with this graph where we're looking at. I mean, our closest to that was the 4th quarter of 2012 that we had that few of homes listed. Going back to the housing crash, the first quarter of 2008, we were at over 20,000 homes listed for that particular quarter. So again, take a look at the homes listed and you can see just how low they are for the 4th quarter when we finished. Okay, so now that we've looked at the green line or the number of homes listed, let's take a look at the number of homes sold. So for the fourth quarter of 2022, we sold a total of 7,600 homes. Now, if you look back, that's kind of, I mean, even the first quarter of 2014 was still lower. And then we had a pretty significant jump by the fourth quarter. So again, we're still talking about similar numbers to 2013, 2014. You know, this is pretty close, 600 units different from the first quarter of 2013. But take a look at the dip here. First quarter of 2009, 4,500 homes sold. So again, historically, we're still in pretty good shape and we're nowhere near this crash that everybody keeps talking about. Okay, and then finally, let's take a look at the average sold price. Now, let's not get so depressing that we go all the way back to where we've been looking, because we know it's been crazy. So even 2019 was a little further than I wanted to go, but just for graph reasons, I left it up here. And again, here's our big jump in 2020 from the second to the third quarter. You can see we peaked here in the second quarter of 2022 for the average sold price in the state being 637,000. And then we dropped in the third quarter of 2022. And then fourth quarter of 2022, we dropped even more to 599,000. And as I mentioned earlier, the average sales price for the state of Utah was actually $587,000 in February. So we are seeing it gonna probably drop again by the time the first quarter of 2023 is reported. So we are seeing that decrease. Now, how much of a decrease have we seen? Well, from our peak of 637 to 599,000, that is almost a 6% decrease. It's 5.965% decrease in the average sales price. So for everybody looking for those numbers to go down, here it is. Just to give more accurate information, I guess, as far as month to month. So you can see here, back to this report, you can see here in May of 2022, that was our highest state average sales price we've ever had. We're just going to call it 644,000. And then February of 2023, we'll call it $587,000. We were just under that. So that is a decrease in average sales price from our peak down. That's about 8.85% decrease in sales price. So for all those people that have been waiting for the homes to drop, this is where we're sitting at 8%, almost 9% decrease. Okay, so let's talk about what is actually happening in the market. If you watched my January update, you heard me say that we are seeing multiple offer situations, mainly on the East Bench in Salt Lake County. I was seeing them in the Sandy when I was running comps and things like that. Well, we're starting to see it and talk about it a little bit more. I actually had some first-time home buyers that we were able to win in the multiple offer situation just on Monday of this week. And that was in Davis County for a townhouse, not on the East Bench. So despite the interest rates going up a little bit, they were still able to get multiple offers on this property. Things that have been sitting for a while are starting to move the last month or so. And then any of the good properties that are well maintained or desirable for people for a variety of reasons, location, newness, whatever it is, or properties that are properly priced for their condition and their microclimate, they're going pretty fast. I mean, we're seeing things under contract in 7 days. This particular house for my clients, it was under contract in 3 days after it was listed. So things are moving. And the important thing for my clients, and if you're a first time home buyer or really a buyer in general, this is probably going to be important to you, is sellers are still negotiable. Even in this multiple offer situation, we did not have to go above list price, and we were still able to get my clients some closing costs covered. So good news for home buyers. It's, good news for sellers too, getting multiple offers and having some choices going on. But again, we didn't do anything crazy as far as waiving any appraisal conditions or inspections, anything like that. If you do have any real estate related questions, it's really important to reach out to me because every single microclimate is different. What we see in one city, even one neighborhood, can be completely different than what is actually happening in another. So if you have questions about making a real estate move, just reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But as always, make it a great day.